You more in a minute when we take a look at some models. But if anything, again, maybe a bit of a rainmaker for at least Florida or maybe parts of the Gulf Coast next weekend. Not this weekend, though. We have high pressure out to our west. We're at 93, as I was pointing out. Some of you still stuck around 95 and feeling like triple digits. And that, of course, is going to be the case heading into this weekend, as we really don't see a lot of rain or additional cloud cover. Mostly sunny conditions across New Orleans right now. And as we look at our winds, note something interesting. They're now from the north for most spots, up to only about 5 or 10 miles per hour. But we do have a small, weak little boundary moving in. And so that may actually bring our dew point temperatures, our humidity down a little bit, but it's not looking like a big drastic change. But if you do feel a little undercurrent of some slightly drier air, that would be because of that northerly flow. Satellite and radar very quiet. This evening we're dropping off to about 90 or so around sunset and then through the 80s. Our overnight low temperatures expected maybe around 70, possibly even brushing the upper 60s north of the lake. South of the lake about 75. And we're looking for a pretty quiet kind of night with mostly clear skies continuing. Tomorrow, a lot of sun, highs about 94 once again. This is close to records, but likely not quite at records, which are generally middle 90s this time of year. Temperatures in the next several hours, again, getting into the 80s and then 70s overnight. We're waking up tomorrow morning to, again, somewhat cooler kind of temperatures north of the lake, you could say around 70 or so, still in the middle to upper 70s south. Our rain chance this weekend, it's not completely zero, but really not enough to mention as an actual rain chance. This is by about noon tomorrow. We'll fast forward through the afternoon, 5, 6. There might be a stray shower, but that's about it. I think the main focus, of course, will be the heat, and that feels like temperature around 100 or so. We're back in the 80s tomorrow evening. In the tropics, there is officially nothing tracking right now, or nothing to be tracked. No development expected for the next 7 days or so. But we've been talking about this collection of moisture that you can see here, very common this time of year with that Central American gyre. You can see low pressure, showers, storms, generally kind of circulating around this area. And what we may see late this coming week and weekend is that general big, broad low kind of surging a little bit farther north into the Gulf, maybe bringing a slug of moisture, especially on the eastern side of that system. So this would mean rain for Florida. We will see if we see some rain increasing along other parts of the Gulf Coast, but really just watching out for next week. The potential for development, it overall looks pretty low because there will be some wind shear, but if that does decrease, which it may toward the end of the week, that might give it a chance to develop maybe into a weak depression, not really looking like a big system with a lot of high winds and things like that, regardless of whether it develops or not. But it does look like it may bring that slug of moisture. You can see those water temperatures certainly warm enough to support some formation, but it's not just water temperatures. You need everything else to fall in line too to get that tropical development. So just the big bullet points: low pressure possible in the Gulf late next week. Main impact would likely be rain, even if it does develop or it stays messy. Usually these are just rainmakers this time of year when this happens. For Florida, maybe the Gulf Coast, and too early really for exact locations or impacts, but we'll be tracking it, of course, heading into the end of next week and next weekend. But until then, hot and dry, and then rain chances back in the forecast for some spotty thunderstorms starting Tuesday.
I know you're going to watch it. Thanks, Alexandra. And we do have an update for you now from Entergy.